How's it going, everyone? Today we got a story time of when parents find sus stuff on their Gen Alpha kid's phone slash computer and gets them in trouble. It's super awkward, but it's also a hilarious story time. And there's a crazy twist to this one, so you won't want to miss it. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already for your very own free nothing. With that being said, let's just jump right into it. Anyways, so we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Gavin. Anyways, right, so there was a newer kid that was coming into town. It was one of those situations where, you always want to be nice to that guy because it's always hard to be the new kid, man. It's always hard to be, going into a school, especially when everyone else already has a friend group. Everyone else is already, they're not looking for friends. They're not necessarily not looking for friends, but they're also not everyone's going in trying to make friends like it is when everyone starts somewhere new. It's not easy then necessarily, but it's a lot easier than being the new kid and coming in, no question. So we're going to call this kid Ben. And so sure enough, right, Gavin's mom was talking to Gavin. It's like, hey, do you want to invite that kid Ben over for a sleepover? So Ben had been around for a couple weeks and he was doing fine, but it definitely seemed like he wasn't, having the most success with friends. And sure enough, right, Gavin's like, yeah, man, that sounds fine. Because Gavin had spent a little bit of time hanging out with Ben. Gavin made a bit of an effort, he knew it was difficult. And Ben seemed like a cool enough kid. It's one of those things where it's like you haven't known someone for long enough, and you will see with a crazy plot twist here how that's the case. But anyways, Gavin was kind of just like, yeah, sure, Mom, that sounds like a good idea. How could this go wrong? So fast forward to the actual day of the sleepover. And so Gavin comes over. It's pretty chill. They're having a good time. They're running back some Fortnite. Like, Gavin seems like a pretty chill dude. They're both they're probably like 13, 14. So Gavin doesn't have his own computer. There's a kind of a family computer. He has his own Xbox or whatever they're playing Fortnite on, or PS4 or whatever. But there's like a family computer. And here's the rules about the family computer. It's anyone can use it, right? But everyone has like their own accounts or whatever. But that also means that, Gavin's parents can look at the search history, and they're those type of parents where they're very afraid of their kid, using the internet in the wrong way, which I totally understand. I totally respect. If anything, I'm going to be a little bit careful with my kids, but who even knows, like 10, 15 years in the future, when I have kids, hopefully, right? I don't even know what the internet's going to look like, man. But one thing I will say is there's a lot of downsides to kids really young finding some really messed up stuff online, right? So I totally understand why parents would do that. So anyways, that's just a little bit of a subtle foreshadowing. Yep. So anyways, they're playing Fortnite. They're running it back. It's fire. They're having a good time, man. And it's getting a little bit late. It's like 9. It's not crazy late. For me, it's like that's when it gets started. But, Gavin's parents are like, yeah, you guys got to be in bed by 10. And so they come down around like 9:30. They're playing Fortnite, and they're like, hey, boys, like, we're going to let you be, but we want to let you know, you guys should be going to bed by 10. And they're like, bet, cool, whatever. Gavin goes to brush his teeth and, comes back, and they're kind of just chilling, sitting for a second. They got like 2 sleeping bags. They're in the basement. It's one of those fun basement sleepovers. I think they Gavin was thinking about trying to sneak his phone down or whatever so they could watch YouTube videos. But Gavin's parents, Ben was trying to sneak his phone down because Ben had a phone, Gavin didn't. But Gavin's parents were too good with it because they're like, oh yeah, boys, also, I know you got a phone, Ben. If you could charge in the kitchen, we just want to make sure you guys aren't going to be up all night. You should get your sleep or whatever. So that was kind of foiled. Anyways, they go to bed. Things are fine, whatever. It just seems like a chill sleepover, man. Doesn't seem that deep. Doesn't really seem like anything happened. And so get up the next day. And, they're having breakfast, whatever. Life's good. Ben gets picked up by his mom, and Gavin kind of goes back to what he's doing. A couple hours go by, and it's Saturday morning. It's 10 in the morning, 10:30. He's playing some Fortnite. Life is just good right now. It's a chill Saturday morning And that's when, he hears a knock on the basement door. And it's like his parents will knock before they come in, but he could just kind of tell this was like a stern knock. It was kind of weird. And he knew something was up when both of his parents come down. Because usually it's like his mom or dad will just be like, hey, Gavin, like, I'm going to be out of the house. I'll be back in an hour. Or, hey, like, it's dinner or something like that. I don't know. But they both walk down. And they had this, like, look on their faces. So Gavin's like, oh, my God, did, like, grandma die or something? Is our cat sick? And, like, do we have to put down our cat or something? Like, so he could just tell right away that something was up, basically. Something was up. So Gavin looks at him and just kind of says point blank, like, what's up, guys? Like, is everything okay? And they just had this kind of like weird look on their faces. And that's when Gavin's mom eventually breaks the silence, because Gavin's just like, what the heck's going on right now? And she's like, Gavin, like, I found some, like, we have to have a chat. And whenever like a parent says we got to talk, it's never like, we got to talk. I just want to say, you're doing great, buddy. Keep going. It's always something's up. Something's going down. So she's like, Gavin, I was looking at the family computer, and I was doing I was opening up Safari because I wanted to do some online shopping, and I saw some really disturbing stuff in the search. And he's like, what? Like, I don't know what you're saying. And she's like, Gavin, I spoke to your dad. Your father did not search this stuff up. I know I did not search this stuff up. And unless you have a secret twin who's secretly been living here that, like, we all don't know about, well, there's only one person left. And Gavin's like, what are you talking about? Like, what were the searches? And Gavin's parents, like, look at each other. And Gavin's just so confused right now. Like, he's just genuinely so confused about what is even going on. And that's when Gavin's mom's like, Gavin, we let you have fairly unrestricted access to the internet, but that also comes with some rules that we spoke about. Like, we don't want you looking up things that are inappropriate for your age. And she's like, you kind of broke our trust here. And, I don't know if you need to, like, have a talk with your father one-on-one about something, any of this kind of stuff, but you're not allowed on the internet for until we can figure this out. And Gavin's just like, Mom, like, I just don't know. Like, I didn't search this stuff up. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, the last time I went on the computer was 2 days ago, and I was looking up Fortnite videos. Like, is that really that bad? Am I not allowed to go on YouTube? And she's like, Gavin, it's not the YouTube videos. That's not what we're worried about. That's fine. You think about the other things you looked up in the last 24 hours, and you'll know why. You will know. Just think. And Gavin's just genuinely at this point so confused. He's like, Mom, like, I don't know. And she's like, Gavin, you can't keep playing dumb with us. And Gavin's like, no, I really don't know. And she's like, okay, come with us. At this point, he's just confused. Like, it's one of those things where he doesn't even know what he's accused of. Like, he doesn't even know this, like, alleged, like, not a crime per se, right? It's not a crime, but it's, like, getting in trouble with your parents. He doesn't know why he's in trouble, bro. So anyways, they walk over to the computer, and, Gavin's dad boots it up, and he's like, yep, you can see right here, if you look at the search history, and sure enough, there's a ton of searches on a ton of sites that are not chill. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to keep it nice and PG family clean, so YouTube and Spotify love me. You know what I'm trying to say, like, trying to keep it nice. But think of it, just all the websites that you should really be 18 plus, and you honestly shouldn't even look at them at all. Like, I mean, I'm not going to, like, blame you. I'm not going to come for you. Like, it's not that deep in my opinion. But especially if you're 13, you should not be looking at that stuff. Like, as your brain's developing, it's not good. And Gavin was just like, Mom, I've not been on these websites before. Like, I really have not been. I'm as confused as you. Which, here's the thing, like, even in that moment, Gavin kind of knew that, like, bro, he wouldn't believe himself either. Like, he was genuinely so confused. And he even says, like, Mom, I really genuinely don't know how this happened. But I also understand why, like, you aren't believing me, because I just don't know. Like, you just gotta believe me on this. She's like, Gavin, I want to believe you, but there's just no other way. And Gavin sat there for a second. So anyways, she's like, the internet's like, you're not allowed on the internet for a while until we figure this out. Like, you and your father should have a conversation later about this, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And they're like, we're not like angry at you for this. We're just disappointed. Which, dude, that line, for me, I sometimes I wish like, when my parents would say, we're not mad, we're just disappointed, dude, that hurts more. I would rather you be mad at me, dude. Like, don't say you're disappointed. Like, that stings worse than being mad, man. Anyways, so Gavin's just kind of sitting there, and he's just like, how? And he, like, tried to retrace the last 24 hours. He's like, the only thing I've been doing, like, I was at school, then, I had the sleepover with Ben, we're playing Fortnite, and that's when he realizes that the only other person who's been in the house besides his parents, right, in the last 24 hours, because he did use the internet 2 days ago to look up Fortnite videos, and there was nothing else on the search history, between the Fortnite videos and the bad searches, there was nothing else between those. So that was the last time he was on. And that's when he realizes that the only other person who's been there was Ben. And he's like, okay. So he walks upstairs and he finds his mom. He's like, Mom, I think I figured it out. And she's like, He's like, no, please listen. Like, I'm telling you, I didn't do it. But, I was thinking about it in the last 24 hours. The only other person here was Ben. And she's like, Gavin, are you really trying to blame this on your new friend? Like, that's not really fair. And he's like, no, I didn't do it. You guys didn't do it. And if we're actually going through and thinking, like, who else could have done it, it's really just Ben. And she's like, Gavin, like, as we said, we're not mad at you. You just broke our rules for using the internet, so you can't use the internet for a while. And, it wasn't like Gavin surfed the internet every single day for like 10,000 hours or anything, but he did like watching YouTube videos. He did like going online. And at this point, I will say, in this day and age, like, sometimes like you got to be online. It's like, it's so woven into like our daily lives that sometimes not being online is really hard. So at this point, Gavin goes back downstairs. He's like super annoyed because his parents aren't believing him, but then also he genuinely believes that the only person that it could have been was Ben, because it actually could have just been Ben. So now he's annoyed at his parents, but he's also annoyed at Ben. He's like, dude, why would you do that? Because they also had a conversation, because he said, yeah, because like I think Ben was like, oh, like, you don't have a phone? He's like, no, I don't have a phone. I don't even have my own computer. But the only thing I have besides the Xbox is we have a family computer, and it's in the main office, and I can only use it from certain times, and they're really like, they check my internet search history all the time. Not that like Ben was like, oh, I want to look up all this weird stuff, but just to go kind of give more, color and detail to the level of, scrutiny his parents have over his internet access, right? Because I guess with Ben, it's like he kind of had access to a phone. He could do whatever he wanted. So also like, and the third reason why he's mad at Ben, or I guess the second, I didn't give a second. The second reason is that Ben has his own phone that his parents don't even check. Why does he need to do it on his? Anyways, so then, not the next day would be Sunday, but Monday morning, Gavin finds Ben, and he's like, yo, dude, what's up? And Ben's like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey, man, like, this is kind of weird, and like, don't get, like, if this isn't true, then like completely ignore it. I'm just trying to like get to the bottom of this, but like, did you use the family computer? He's like, no, dude, like, I didn't. But he says it in such a way that he just knows that he's lying. Like, when someone says something, you just know that they're lying, just immediately. I mean, he wasn't like started shaking, was like, and sweating and like, no, dude, he wasn't like that. He wasn't like that bad, but it was pretty obvious that it was him, right? So at this point, Gavin's kind of just like, are you sure? And Ben's like, yep, no, I didn't even know you have a family computer, which was not even true, right? I don't know why you lie about that, because Gavin did tell him, and he was like, oh, really? And he actually asked where it was, so he just double knows that was not true. Anyways, so Gavin goes back home. He goes to his mom. He's like, yo, dude, I don't know. He said, yo, dude. But he's like, I talked to Ben today. I asked him if he used the computer. He said no, but he was definitely lying. And she's like, Gavin, stop. Like, it's I'm not mad. Don't you hate that when like you weren't lying, like you're not lying, and you're trying to convince your parents, and you're like, no, I'm telling the truth, and they say, hey, like I'm not mad at you, don't worry, because they just don't believe you. So at this point, Gavin's pretty upset, right? He's not rocking with it. And many days go by, and he can't use the internet now. And like there'd be many times throughout the day where he's like, oh, I want to go look up a YouTube video. I want to go do this. And he'll go to his mom and he'll be like, hey, like, mom, can I like use the computer? She's like, sweetie, no, we're still on a cooldown from something you didn't even do, which made him super upset. Anyways, so sure enough, right? But by the way, if you made it as far into the video, comment computer down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. It'll show me the names and faces of people who made it this far into the video. Thank you very much. Anyways, so he's pretty upset about this at this point. And it's Friday night. So he comes, basically an entire week goes by. He's downstairs. He's playing Fortnite. He's still like a little upset about it, but he's not really thinking about it. He's back in the zone. It's a Friday. It's chill. It's whatever. You know, he's playing some Fortnite. Like, life's getting good again. And that's when he hears a knock on the door. And so his mom walks in, and he's like, yeah, what's up? And she has this, like, kind of bit of a look on her face. Again, not the same type of look, but has, like, a look. You knew it wasn't normal. So part of him was like, oh, am I officially getting my computer back? And then part of him was like, did some other BS go down? Like, I can't take this anymore. And she's like, hey, buddy, like, we got a really interesting email from Ben's mom. And at first, Gavin's like, oh my God, is like Ben trying to do like a smear campaign against me and like had his mom email my mom about how I made him feel uncomfortable or something because like I was asking him questions and he wants to make me look like the bad guy so he doesn't get caught or something like that. But Gavin's mom actually says this. Gavin's mom says, hey, like, yes, we got this email, and it basically said it was sent out to you, to me, but it was also sent out to a couple other parents of kids in your class, I think 2 or 3 others, where essentially it said that Gavin had gone to a couple, basically what happened was Gavin had gone to a couple other sleepovers, because I think some other parents were like trying to make him feel inclusive, Ben went to a couple other sleepovers, and Ben apparently did the exact same thing at like a bunch of other kids' houses. And all those kids got in trouble, right? So Ben was almost like a serial looking weird stuff up on other people's computers kid. Like, it was not just Ben. So somehow, I don't know exactly how, and Gavin doesn't know exactly how, but Ben's parents like found out. And I guess he must have confessed to everything or something. Because I don't know how they'd know the extent of all of the sleepovers, right? Because if it happened at one sleepover, they wouldn't email every kid he went to a sleepover with because that would just crush him socially. But I guess he maybe confessed or something, or he got caught and then he confessed to the whole thing. I don't really know. But it basically just said that, like, look, like, if you think, like, I got to apologize, like, my son Ben, you know, has some problems or something. I don't even know what she said. But it basically boiled down to, like, your son, if you believed, was, like, looking up something inappropriate on a shared electronic device or electronic device that you checked. It wasn't him. It was my son. He's got some problems or something. We're working through it, and I apologize. And when Gavin heard this, he just looks up at his mom and is like, can you trust me next time?